Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to episode 24 of Albums That Are 30 Years Old in 2023. We have been looking back on 1993 all month long. 31 days in March, we picked out our 31 favorite albums that are celebrating their 30th birthdays, 30th anniversaries this year from 1993. This particular one came out in July 27th. July 27th, 1993, the third album from this particular musician. It was recorded at the Mothership Studio in Hollywood Hills, California, produced by the man himself, Mr. Steve Vai, for Relativity Records. I am talking about Sex and Religion from Steve Vai and Company. At the time, just called Vai, right? This was supposed to be like a new supergroup that Steve Vai put together. Of course, he had done two previous albums of all instrumental hard rock, guitar rock mayhem, right? But here he wanted to actually put together a band that was going to go out and take over the world. Didn't quite work out that way, which, you look back and you re-listen to this album. I'm really excited to talk about this album today because I think this is an album at the time that was a little misunderstood and maybe underappreciated. And when you listen to Sex and Religion today, it really is a pretty brilliant album, and I think a little bit ahead of its time. So, of course, we got Steve Vai on guitars, arranging, wrote the songs, all that kind of stuff, did a little bit of vocals here and there. Devin Townsend, right? Devin Townsend was a nobody at the time. This is prior Devin Townsend band, prior Strapping Young Lad, right? So Devin Townsend pulled out of the obscurity of Canada to front this band, and he does a fantastic job on lead vocals throughout, showing all the different facets of his vocal abilities. Terry Bozzio, the great Terry Bozzio on drums, and of course the great T.M. Stevens on bass. So that was supposed to be, those four guys, that was supposed to be this new supergroup. Didn't quite turn out that way. By the time they got done recording the album, basically, the other two cats were pretty much ready to move on to something else, and Vai and Devin had to go out and kind of do it themselves, and that kind of splintered shortly after that. But it's a real shame because this is a really terrific album, maybe a little on the long side, right? It's like an hour long, 13 tracks, but in re-listening to this album again, because I hadn't heard it in a while, but I always really dug it. I think I appreciate this album even more so now. I think there's some really, really amazing material on here. Perhaps for those who were really into Vai's two solo records, mostly all instrumental guitar rock, maybe wanted more of the same. And in 1993, this was kind of like, this is so different because it's not really that at all. Granted, there are a couple of instrumentals on here. They're mind-blowing. There are some amazing guitar solos on here, but this is more song-based hard rock and metal, vocal-based. And, Devin Townsend, his voice is not for everybody. So in 1993, I think this was a little kind of jarring for some folks. I totally understand that. My perception is that if this album had come out in like 88 or 89, I think this would have done really, really big business. Because I think a lot of the material on here is perfectly suited for that kind of latter era in the latter couple of years in the 80s when, heavy music like this, and there's lots of hooks on here, and it's a very catchy album, was definitely more in style at the time as opposed to 1993, right? So I think it was a little late. Album did fairly well, but not what they were hoping. And I think a little bit past when they should have released something like this. I think Steve had the right idea. He probably should have done this to coincide with like the Passion and Warfare album around that time. I think that would have been probably a great idea, or shortly thereafter. But certainly, now by 93, this style of music is kind of, out of fashion, so to speak. So anyway, let's talk about the tracks. So here it starts off with An Earth Dweller's Return, which is kind of like a opening kind of, instrumental thing to lead you into the album. And then you have the raging Here and Now, great anthemic heavy rock song, great vocal from Devin, great riffs and solos from Steve. And, for the most part, throughout much of this album, his solos are short and to the point, but no less mind-blowing. I think that's what a lot of people back in the day, I know myself certainly said the same thing, is like on some of these songs, it's like we wanted to hear more of Steve's virtuosity. You get it, especially in the latter part of the album. But like in the first half of the album is a lot of just really good anthemic, catchy, hard rock and metal songs. and there's nothing wrong with that. Here and Now is a great song. In fact, I think it was released as a single. I know, pretty sure they had an MTV video as well. In My Dreams with You, which co-written by and Desmond Child and Roger Greenawald. Another really, really catchy song. Great hook. Again, In My Dreams with You could have been a decent hit 5 years prior. Still My Bleeding Heart, another really catchy tune. Again, all these tunes are very rockin', but they have great melodies, and Devin does a really good job of his mixing in his more maniacal style with the really melodicness. If you follow Devin Townsend in his solo career all these years, you know he can do the crooning thing very, very well as do the crazy, sicko stuff like he did with Strapping Young Lad. He does a little bit of that on this album as well. Title track, Sex and Religion, excellent rocker. Really, really good. Really interesting lyrics throughout this whole album too, as well. It's very very different from Vi, because Vi's coming from playing mostly instrumental music. Dirty Black Hole is a really good snarling rocker. Love that one quite a bit. Then you've got the great instrumental Touching Tongues, which I don't think gets enough credit for being one of the stronger Steve Vai instrumentals, right? He's done a ton of instrumentals, but I think Touching Tongues kind of gets forgotten. Really good high energy instrumental song here, and excellent guitar work. State of Grace, that's also instrumental, but that's a lot of kind of weird noises and things like that. Orchestrations and stuff. I don't know. To me, State of Grace probably could have been left off the album. There's really not much to say about it. Survive is really, really good, and another good high energy rocker. One of the couple of heavy tracks on the album, along with Pig. And I'm getting my songs mistaken here. State of Grace is actually very lovely. State of Grace is the instrumental I'm talking about that's more kind of noisy and doesn't really do much of anything is The Road to Mount Calvary, which is after Pig. State of Grace is very lovely, nice little guitar thing by Steve. That's actually very, very good. Let's not take that off the album. That's a good one. There's so many songs on here. Like I said, Survive is a great heavy rocker. Pig is just angry, snarling, manic, right? Just a venomous vocal from Devin Townsend. He actually co-wrote that song as well. Then, like I mentioned, The Road to Mount Calvary, that could have probably been left off the album. Not much going on there. Then you have I think another song that became a video. Yes, in fact, this was a performance video. Down Deep in the Pain, which actually shows T.M. Stevens and Terry Bozzio and Devin and Steve. I think they did that one shortly after the album was recorded, or during the recording of the album. Down Deep in the Pain is 8 minutes long. It's fast. It's heavy. There's guitar acrobatics all over the place. Really, really good stuff. And then you have the final track 13, which is also 8 minutes and change, is Rescue Me or Bury Me, which is a really weird kind of dreamy, lengthy, kind of floating song with this, crooning vocal from Devin Townsend, but then this amazing face-melting guitar solo from Steve, which is just absolutely incredible. It's almost like he waits till the last song of the album to deliver that lengthy, you get Touching Tongues, which is basically a whole acrobatic guitar solo instrumental track, but then Rescue Me or Bury Me, there's this amazing, kind of about 2 minute long, maybe more, guitar solo, right in the middle towards 3/4 of the way through. That is just jaw-droppingly good. And I think, some people wanted more of that throughout the album. But I personally think you get plenty of guitar on here, but this is a more vocal-oriented, song-based album. And as far as those kind of go, I think this is really good. And it's by far the best album that Steve has ever done. And that is this type of thing, right? This more vocal, hard rock and metal type of an album. Just absolutely killer stuff. And, I like this a lot, and I think I've loved revisiting this recently, because, again, I hadn't listened to this in quite a while, and I really like revisiting this week and just totally enjoying this, saying, wow, this is a dynamite album. And again, I think for those who might have ignored it or kind of cast it aside pretty quickly back in the day, go check this out again, because this holds up really, really well. And I think there's dynamite performances throughout the whole thing. The drumming is off the charts. Of course, Terry Bozzio, the bass playing is great. Great guitar work. Devin Townsend's vocals are spectacular. Really good stuff. Good, heavy album with plenty of guitar acrobatics, and just all the elements are here. Sex and Religion, Steve Vai and company. Let us know what you think of this album in the comments below, and visit us on the web. Also, list your pick for today, day 24, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button. before you leave. Also, down below in the video description, we've got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page, where you can get all sorts of cool Sea of Tranquility gear. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned in just a little bit. Don't touch that dial. Martin Popoff and I are coming back at you. We're going to be entering the Funhouse in just a little bit, and we'll see you then for more stuff. We have the topic of today. We're going to be talking about why we have this obsession with those musicians who are no longer with us, right? So that's what the topic is. So follow us soon here on YouTube, on the Mighty Sea, in the Funhouse. We've also got coming up tomorrow. We got the UK Connection returns tomorrow, and then on Sunday we've got ranking the albums of Billy Squier. So lots happening over the next couple days. Stay tuned for all of it. And then, of course, we kick off the work week on Monday with the Hudson Valley Squares, where we'll be talking about our favorite album openers of all time, those barn burner tracks that kick off an album that we just absolutely love, and it sets the stage for the whole rest of the album. So that's the topic for Monday, and till then, I am Pete Pardo. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you here real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.